Well, hello! Welcome to EVE Online. I'm alone in Finland. I welcome all of you degenerates and strange people that play this game or watch this game on YouTube or maybe just watch me. I've seen more than one of those comments and I thank you for your attention, but I'm also uncomfortable. But then again, I'm uncomfortable with any attention, really, which was funny for somebody who used to conduct a child retreats for over 700 sodden kids at the same time, which is always interesting. So, today, as you have seen by the title, this is called something to do with burnout or FOMO or some sort of stuff. And I'm going to show two things going on at the same time, roughly, because the first one was, I believe they call this parallel thinking, where separate people have the same idea at the same time. So to give credit where credit is due, and I haven't watched the video yet. There is a YouTuber by the name of Bill Paid, on YouTube, who I discovered literally yesterday. And I think I actually discovered after he just put up a new video. Looking at it, yeah. This video called Did Catalyst Break Mining? And he makes some very valid points, very interesting points, and stuff like that to go through. However, this morning I woke up and my YouTube thing on my phone showed me a video of his that it turns out was his second last one that was to do with Burnout. Now, I haven't watched it yet, specifically because I'm going to say some stuff that will probably disagree with some of what's going on, might not, but I've seen tons of these Burnout videos. And it just so happens that I was thinking about this idea for the past like 2 weeks on and off to talk about this because it sort of irritated me in a way, as you might be surprised to hear. And when I saw this, because the plan was to sit down and make this video today, and I saw this and I was like, because I saw this previous video, the Catalyst mining video, and I agreed with everything. I left a comment, and less than 24 hours, less than 12 hours later, after I left that comment, I have just seen more of his content, and I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not going to watch that before I do this, because I keep seeing this burnout video, people talking about burnout. Now, there are two main groups of players when it comes to video games. And that would be the people playing the game and then the people making content off of the game for YouTube or TikTok or Twitch or any of that nonsense. Now, the content creators, and I'll keep emphasizing that word because I fucking hate it, are the ones that they're not playing a game, they're doing a job. They're trying to create something that they want somebody else to be interested in. This is for the most part, obviously, for me putting out there, you could probably tell that it's not what I think other people are interested in for my videos, it's what I'm interested in. And if people align with that, then booyah. And if people don't align with that, then meh. No harm, no foul. But there's a gaming channel called Worst Pre-Made Ever, one of my favourite channels, something really good to take the edge off if you're watching it. They make clip compilations of them playing. So they play on Twitch or stream on YouTube, and then they take all of their streaming stuff and knock it down into a game with all of the daftest moments, all of the stupid moments and stuff like this. And it is fantastic, and it's genuinely a fantastic chill out. However, there was a little time, about a year ago or so, where they kind of got into this thing about essentially having rage boners about different things, where some of the people playing would get very annoyed at what they were doing, but they kept showing in the clips, they kept putting out somebody screaming, why are we doing this? Oh, it's for the content. It's like, you're kind of missing the point of the videos. The reason people are watching your videos is for a chill time. If you keep saying about the fact that you hate what you're doing, but you're gonna keep doing it because it's how you make money, you kind of put people off of that. And after a few comments to the same, like similar effect, they stopped doing that as much. That word still comes up from time to time, but a lot less so. And it was a little bit of sort of correction. But that's where I want to talk about this whole burnout thing, because of the fact that a lot of people have this sort of this ingrained thing about EVE Online that's separate to almost every other video game, when they will talk about this without any irony. A player will talk about, well, I'm getting burnt out playing EVE Online. No, you're not. You're not getting burnt out playing EVE Online. You cannot get burned out playing a video game. You can get burned out working. And that's where EVE Online has this sort of interesting problem in the way that it is, because it's so in-depth. The way that it's built around the market and around everything else that's going on is that people are working at the game. Even if they're not creating content for social media platforms or stuff like this, they are doing things where they are investing a lot of their personal time and where they feel this urgency. Now, this has gotten less over the years, actually, in my opinion, to do with the sort of invocation of Plex. Because originally, I'll give you the example of my first Scorpion, where I worked for 3 months to get the base skills for everything I needed for the Scorpion and to get the battleship itself. It sounds like a lot of time, especially when you consider that the battleship was 80 million at that point, and the actual fitting was probably another 100 million. It wasn't anything particularly impressive. It was weird for a Scorpion because I was sort of shallow on knowing the bonuses, and I built this thing out as a tank, so I would be called primary in every fight. And everybody would go after me from the opposing teams, whatever. And the funny thing being is that I was just built as a tank so people could rep me and keep me up. And it was an interesting thing and a fantastic thing. But it took 3 months to get that ship of non-stop playing. I was unemployed for half of it. I was playing 16 hours a day. And it was my primary work. It was what I was doing with all of my time. And it was a drain. Now, more recently, the past couple of weeks, trying to get one of these Odysseus ships, which I've got one, which is down in Amar space, and I've just built another one, and I've sold it, and I'm just going to show you something else while this is going on. However, this has been a grind. To get the LP to buy one of these took a hell of a long time. So it's something that was particularly painful to do, and afterwards I needed a break from the game. But it wasn't because I was playing the game, it was because of what I was doing in the game was work. I was working for an objective. And this is something that people sort of forget, is that if you're experiencing burnout from a game, you're not playing it. So take a step back. And in EVE, people are more sort of aligned towards staying in the game because they're paying for it constantly. They see it as a null value. You're wasting money paying for a game that you're not actually playing. However, the other side of that, which people should think about a lot more, is the fact that it's fine to take a break from something, from anything. And with EVE, you're constantly training skills, so it's not exactly you're not getting anything for your time, your coin that you're putting in. But if you continue to play something that you dislike, that is annoying you, that is draining you, then you're not going to enjoy it for much longer. It's going to get to that point. So it's good to take a break away. I am actually in this odd place where I have been running for so much for the past couple of weeks just because of building this. Nothing to do with YouTube or any of that other stuff. This was just what I wanted to do. However, because of doing this, I'm put in a situation where I have now just wanted to do anything else. So for the past couple of days, I've actually been playing a Rust wipe, which itself started very weird because I discovered some, what's the polite term? Thieving, hacking fucking bastards. That's the polite term. I was on a Rustified server. If you don't know Rust, you get legitimate servers, you get several companies that sound like legitimate servers, and some of these are quite big companies that provide lots of servers and stuff like this. And Rustified is one of these big companies, and they've had accusations of admin abuse in the last while. I got it 4 or 5 days ago. I was playing on the server, I built a base, and I happened to build it next to somebody else's base that was a really large complex. And when I came back in about an hour and a half later, I had been raided, except I hadn't been raided. My TC had been broken. That's the tool cupboard that sort of keeps your base up. everything that was in my base had been, all of the loot had been taken out of the boxes, and these was out on the ground, so it would despawn within a short amount of time. But and the tool cupboard had been broken, and then another one placed next to the door with somebody else slapping down a barricade in front of the door, so I couldn't use it. They hadn't broken any of the doors, but also there was boxes all around to stuff and shelves on the walls. They hadn't come through any of the walls. They hadn't broken anything to get into the base. They had spawned into the base and then despawned everything. So one of the admins didn't like the fact my base was close to theirs and had come in and done this. There was no way to come through any of those walls with explosives or even soft siding without destroying something. But they hadn't destroyed any of the stuff, and I was like, are you serious? What the hell? And then as I was like in the base, because I'd managed to come back through one of the doors that hadn't been blocked properly, I pop into the base, I'm doing stuff, and then I see stuff appearing as I'm there. So somebody pulled something out of a box that I was actively in, and I was like, oh, you are kidding me. So yeah, rustified.com, that is the last time I touch any of their servers. But I went on and played on another one. I actually went on to one of the Face Punch legitimate servers for the first time in a long time. And that's what I've been doing for the past little while. So let me just have a look at this. Where's my stuff and personal assets? I've got 7 of those in T2. So how many do I need? 253, 243. Nope. 240. I think I can get away with. Except that wasn't enough. Daft stuff. So yeah, burnout is something that doesn't really exist if you're playing a game. Burnout is something that only exists if you're working at the game, and you should adjust your expectations and things like that around about it. And go and have a look at Bill Page's video, because the last one I did on the catalyst breaking mining, I'm not sure if I agree with everything he said, everything he sort of pulled out from it. All of his like facts about what's going on around about it was fantastic. Well made video, well put together perspective, and I think, yeah, share the love. It's nice, and it's nice to help somebody out. It's nice to watch some stuff, and a good point is always a good point. The reason I say that I wouldn't quite agree with what he was talking about, because in a part of the thing he was talking about the meta, if I get this correctly, and how it's the big block meta, but one of the things I don't disagree with, I think is missing, is the fact that if you run through HiSec at the moment, you will see these new ships, these new pioneers, everywhere. Tons of people have them because they are a fantastic new thing. They are slightly better than the Venture. And I think that's fantastic that a lot of people are using them, and that itself, that more people are mining, and more people might return, because a lot of people have left over the years because of how broken mining's been. I think that might change. Did I get that right? I'm so confused. I can use the extra ones anyways, but that confused me. Anyways, so let's get us out and going. Yeah, so at the moment, I think there's a lot of good stuff going on because of the catalyst thing. I think there's going to have to be some mining changes again in the very near future, because if you're actually looking at the T2 ships, you might notice that you've now got a ship that is, in some cases, got more space in it than one of the Marauders. Not one of the Marauders, I've just said that because he's sat there. One of the Exhumers. So you've got a destroyer that's got more cargo space than one of the Exhumers. So I think that the Exhumers are going to have a little bit of a rebalancing. And looking at some of the stuff, some of the comments that I saw that were talking about the fact that there should be a battleship size thing for just pure breed strip mining, I think that would be absolutely fantastic. It's something that I'd thought about for a while, and yeah, I think that's something that's a good idea for us to watch out for. Something that would enable a little bit more of the mining, but possibly sort of limiting it, maybe introducing something else where it's the balance. You don't want to really shaft the smaller players, and especially with the amount of alphas that have access to the new mining ship, that means that you're going to get some people coming into the game that have something sort of productive to do. So you always have to balance that. Now I'm doing a very dangerous thing, as you may notice here, because I got 1.6 billion in my cargo, not including the actual. And I am doing stupid jumps, but that's because I'm talking and I'm not good at playing and talking at the same time. But yes, so with all of this being said, that's my sort of opinion on the burnouty thing. And oh, Bill, if you see this, I am sorry it came after your video. I'm going to go and watch that now. So if anybody else is watching that, please go and have a look. Anybody else is paying attention to other things. But for the last while, I have been playing a phenomenal amount of, Rust. I've had EVE on in the background on my second computer. So it's just been doing some touring stuff. I did go out for a PvP roam yesterday, and yeah, it was crap. It's the lower population, especially down in the south. I got basically 2 solo targets, and one of them I just didn't have the ability to break the tank, which came with some threats and me warping off. And the other one was stabbed up the wazoo, so Jesus. I not only couldn't lock them down, they were just gone in a heartbeat. They must have been pre-aligned or something, but yeah. So we shall see. I'm trying to get a little bit more sort of information together, a little bit more footage for a PvP video, but at the moment this is the general state of things. So yes, thanks for watching with all of that jazz. As per usual, we've got the stuff down in the doobly-doo if you want any cheap links or stuff like that. However, as I'm speaking this, let me just be very accurate. If you're somebody who's going to Marquee Dragon or anything like that, at the moment, in my opinion, save your money, because you're going to get some stuff coming up very soon to do with the whole Christmas sale, because there's always a sale at either over the Christmas period or early January. So if you've got some money you're looking to put into EVE, leave it for the sale, because we've just come out of one. We're most probably going to go back into another one soon, and use your money wisely. This is something for me that is constant, because every time I sort of get to the point where I can extend my game time, I am usually like a day late on the sale, or too early, stuff like this. I extended my game time for my main client last month, just before the sale started, a day and a half before the sale started, because I was like, oh, this is a good time to do it. So keep an eye out for those things. I had to do it because my game time on this client was running shy, but yeah, that was painful, very painful. And last but not least, as you can see, I've bought an Odysseus. I'm building an Odysseus. I need to go and have a look at some of the other stuff that I need for this. And I've just realised that I left all of my mega site back in the other station. However, let me just point this out for the moment. If I go into this particular station, is 2 jumps outside of Jita, and it is it's got T2 manufacturing rigs and stuff like this, so it's a little bit cheaper. But at the moment, as you can see, it's roughly just under $1 billion for the blueprints on the contracts for the Odysseus. So if you have the skills for this, and bear in mind, none of the skills seem to affect your material efficiency, only your time. But if you have any of the skills for the manufacturing, you can manufacture an Odysseus. At the moment, with how cheap the blueprints are, so if I just find these in contracts, you can see here that there are a whole ton of them that are essentially under $1 billion. And if you were to take one of these, having spent the call it $1.05 billion, including the build cost, and you were to build one of these, you would notice that after the material costs, which is approximately 1.4 billion, so in total you are talking 2.4 billion, they are selling for 2.9 billion. Now, I'm slightly salty about this, because my first one actually sold for 2.4, because I'd made the blueprint myself, so that was a cost that I endured. But then I made another one, and the blueprint price was 800 million, and I made a decent chunk off of that. But now the blueprint price is actually going up because so many people are buying them that they are getting sort of run out. So this is something to have a look at. You can buy the blueprints, you can get them manufactured, and it is something nice and easy for you to be able to do if you want to turn a little bit of money. So that help being out there. Sometimes these tricks come up with different releases, people buying the new shiny ships. So a little bit of a help there for other people, because I am still particularly annoyed at a YouTuber from very early in my career that did a video going, well, look at how I make money, and didn't actually show how they made money, just generally talked about, oh, you could do mining, you could do building, didn't show any of their specific niches or any of that. So it was just an entire fucking flex. And then they had the audacity to have a bit of a pop at me going, well, I did show. No, you fucking didn't. Yeah. If you're going to show people, if you're going to help people, show them what you're doing, show them how you're doing it, even if it's going to saturate the market. So that's what I'm showing. Hopefully that helps. Marquee Dragon for your game codes, especially if you're the type of person that would drop £1,000 on game codes and stuff like that, because I do get a little kickback if you use my code Alone in Finland, and I did get kickback off of that. You are insane, whoever you are, and you are fantastic. Thank you very much. That was much appreciated. And also the other people getting the smaller little things. I appreciate everything. It's always welcome. Always welcome. And especially at the moment, it's very helpful because life is shit. So these be the rules. But with all that said, I'm going to get the last of my stuff, put my hauler on to do some long distance bouncing about, and then I'm going to go back to Rust. So thanks for watching. Bye. Okay, so I am actually just watching the video from Bill Paid about this, which again, very good, very well researched, all of that jazz. Kind of doesn't overlap with anything I really said, because you can get burnout from something that is work. When people's hobbies turn into work, when people's playtime turns into work, that's where you get burnout. This is my entire opinion on it. And people don't really pay attention to it because they don't realise that it's stress. While there hasn't been many studies done on burnout as its own thing, stress, especially what becomes post-traumatic stress disorder, if it goes too far, there's lesser versions of that that are just stress from pressure being applied. And if you're in a game where your stuff is at risk, if you screw it up, you're going to get those same stressors. However, one little thing that just popped into my head as I was listening to the video, and I thought I have to put this out here, is the Battle Badger. So it used to be a Badger. It is now one of the Galanti ships, is one of the best ones for it. But let me just show you this. If you are getting bored and things like this, especially if you've got other mates you can do this with, but at the same time you can do it in almost any hub, just try and take a cheap ship and 1v1 with it. And the more fun the ship is, the better. So for example, if I was to go into, where's the haulers? I go into my fittings. Somewhere around about here, in amongst the haulers, the Galanti ones specifically. Oh, there you go, one from Bjornby. That's a good example. Let's have a look at this. So here is a fitting for a passive, well, an active, passive structure, active things with the scrambler and the drone bay full of some drones, and it costs 28 million. It is a cheap enough fit to go out and have a laugh with. Take it into nullsec, 1v1 somebody in high sec. Have these fun things. Go and do PvP with cheap ships. Expect to lose them. Don't spend more than sort of 10 to 40 mil on a ship, depending on where your budget is. If you're in alpha, you can do this for 5 million. Something cheap and stupid and fantastic that you can go and lose, and do it in a funny way. It's a little bit of ISK that you can make back in a couple of days just from your actual login stuff here. Oh God, I haven't finished my stuff today. Oh, this will finish it. But these are things that are fun. Have fun in the game. It's not always about that grind. It's not always about progression. It's about having fun. And this is true in life as well. Try and have as much fun as you can. if stuff is possible, if you can get out there and do something funny, then it's always worth doing it. And then on top of that, just chat with your mates. If you have friends that you can talk to, if you have people online. I had a very wholesome conversation, genuinely, last night with somebody. I was running around naked and rushed. Somebody killed me and then kind of went, oh God, I've killed a naked. I'm really sorry about that, because they were heavily geared players. And these two people, two German, one male, one female, just were chatting to us for a little while and sort of escorting me through the Badlands in the server that I was in. And it was just a very wholesome thing and just a nice interaction. Do these things. Have a laugh. Sort of, as they say, touch grass. I used to have a very good photo of me putting my hand down on a corner on a motorbike that I thought for touching grass. For me, my computer is what I enjoy. Sometimes it's going out to the garage and using the tools there. But in general, do what you enjoy. Try not to stress over it, especially a video game, because it ain't a video game anymore if you're stressing. It's not playing if you're stressing. So, with that being said, Battle Badger. Remember the Battle Badger. I have many different variations, as you can see here. There are lots of different fits that you can have a laugh with this particular ship. Go and have some fun. Bjorn Beer is now one of the CCP devs. However, before that, he has some amazing stuff on YouTube. Go and have a look at his fights, because they are hysterical. Just be weird. Lose weird stuff. Do weird stuff. It's a great laugh. Bye!